and now I want to give you a quick tour of what's going on in Schoology for us. And not that you don't know how to navigate Schoology, but things might be a little bit different with how our page sets up and operates this year. So when you can navigate to our pre-calculus page, what you will always see at the top of the page is this Mr. Seppala's General Resources. In fact, all of your classes are probably going to have a folder called General Resources, and there's actually kind of a lot in here. At the very top is my contact info, so this is how you can get in touch with me. I mean, sending a Schoology message is just a matter of clicking on the envelope, and then sending a Schoology message is just a matter of clicking on the envelope and then searching for my name. So contact me at Schoology is just a Schoology message. If you need my email, it's right there. You can also get it from the our Valley High School website. But then also I do have a Google Voice number set up, so if that's an easier way to do things, you can send me a message that way. And I'm also going to set up a Remind, which kind of accomplishes the same thing, but also lets me send out class messages at the same time. And then for our Zoom sessions, there is a link down here with the Zoom information and the meeting ID and passcode. But then also in this folder, this is a direct link, this second one down, to my Zoom sessions. So I think you should be able to just click on that and it'll bring you right in. But if you need that password information, it's in the contact information. Then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. There is a syllabus for our class in there. If you're not sure about how you have to do attendance at home for your distance learning stuff, that's there. This doesn't cover all things iPad, but there are some quick fixes from our team in the LMS. Our daily schedule, adding the math keyboard to your iPad. This is kind of a handy thing, especially if you're going to do more work where you're typing and setting things up. There is a free graphing calculator that works great on the iPad that's really close to the TI graphing calculators. And then if you haven't used Genius Scan, when you submit work to us, we want it as a PDF, not as like just regular camera images. Images can cause a lot of problems and sometimes won't load properly. PDFs work much smoother. Genius Scan is kind of a fast way to do that if you haven't used it before, but as long as you have a way to turn things into PDFs, that is just fine. And then when you're working on things, like if you're watching a video and you want to take notes or something like that, this link is a video, just how to split your screen on your iPad so you can do two things at once. And then really what you're going to see is each week we're going to add another folder. You're seeing my teacher view, so this folder you won't see in yours right now. But basically every week in this folder there are going to be 3 tasks and then one folder called in-person/Zoom. For those of you in the Digital Academy, this is kind of a substitute or like a parallel version, or in some cases the direct version of what we're going to be doing in our in-class session. And if you come into the Zooms, I can kind of give you a brief overview, but particularly if there are any activities. So like this first week, it's really just a bunch of videos. One is just a welcome video. This is the Schoology page tour that you're doing right now. These 3 videos on the brain are just really important with how the brain learns and how the brain learns mathematics. And then this is just a quick activity we're going to have you do to practice submitting. But pretty much every week is going to be boiled down to 3 tasks and then an in-person and Zoom as your 4th task. The 3, task 1, task 2, task 3, all students are doing via distance learning. So you would just go into the folder and, the first one is a Google form. Then I'm going to have you make a short video introducing yourself. And then there's a quick a puzzle in this last one we want you to try, just a little number puzzle. This gives you directions for how to do it. Do your best to try it. If you can't get it, that's okay. But then just submit your work at the end, just because we want you to practice submitting that work. So that's kind of the deal with Schoology. I am going to load all of our different things we have due on our calendar. So assignments always show up on the calendar, but like our Google form wouldn't normally show up on our class calendar. But for this class, it will. And if you ever want to see the full calendar, you can just click on that calendar. And so you can kind of see when things are generally meant to be due. I wouldn't get too, with the wackiness that our schedule has, due dates are not going to be hard and fast. That's the end of it, and you lose all your points by any means. But this is kind of gives you some structure if you want to kind of keep pace and try and stick to these dates. But with anything we're doing, just touch base with me and we can work something out. The main thing is we want you to get through the material. So that's kind of the deal. And then this stuff coming up next week, you don't have access to till we get a little bit closer, but it's going to be the same kind of thing. Task 1, Task 2, Task 3, those are distance learning for everyone. This last folder is what we're doing in person that is going to be assigned for you to look at or do on Zoom to kind of replicate that experience. So that's what's going on our Zoom page. Send questions if you have them.